Hello, my name's Andrew Brooks. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and in this episode we're going to be looking at cassette singles. Hello, and thank you for joining me once again on my YouTube channel. Okay, as I said, we're going to be looking at cassette singles, but before we get onto those, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you really like the channel, and it would really help me out as well, if you could just click the little subscribe button even, which I believe is probably going to be down here. It's gone throughout the whole video, so just click on it whenever you feel like it, and you'll get up-to-date information of when the next video is out. Anyway, enough of that. Thank you very much for joining me. And we're going to be looking at cassette singles. Hopefully we're all aware of 7-inch singles and CD singles, which has now died as well. They've been and gone. A very unusual format was a cassette single. I didn't really see the purpose of them, other than maybe you wanted to play the song in the car, but then you just surely record off the record if you bought the record. So we'll go back to the 80s, and these were the first cassette singles I was certainly aware of. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was only 4 of them. So we've got John Lennon and Woman, and John Lennon Watching the Wheels. These, I believe, were the first 2. And so they're just cardboard sleeves, a little bit of writing on the back, same picture as on the front. John Lennon, Yoko Ono on there, and they kind of like have a flip top, kind of like a cigarette pack, I suppose. And then you pull out, and there's your cassette single. And it only has 2 tracks on it normally. There are cassette EPs, which obviously would have slightly more. Oh, can't even get it back in the hole. There we go. So yeah, we have cassette EPs as well, and I'll come on to some of those later. But I'm guessing these 2 were probably the first 2 cassette singles in the Beatles world. As I say, I do stand to be corrected. Followed by Walking on Thin Ice, which was obviously John's last collaboration with Yoko. And obviously, another John link is All Those Years Ago, which was George's tribute to John. Also on a cassette single. There we are. And it's, as I say, same flip top style box. That's tricky to say, but these boxes seem to go out of fashion. They certainly weren't issued any more Beatles in those sort of flip top boxes. As far as I can, I'm just looking at the pile. As far as I can tell, there wasn't any more. Now you're probably asking, well, okay, solo Beatles probably issued theirs in the 80s, maybe into the 90s. But what about the Beatles? Well, the Beatles did actually put out some cassette singles, not in the 60s or 70s, but certainly in the 80s and 90s. So I'll show you the big box, which is probably what you've seen on the photo. So there's a whole box. It looks like that, and this is out now, and it's every single UK British release, single wise, as a cassette single. And they came, you could buy them individually, but they also came in this very nice sort of presentation box, which if you lifted the lid up and fold it in, you then got to see all of the cassettes. And as I said, every single one, there's pictures of every single one, ranging all the way from Love Me Do, which is that one there, and it goes through to Let It Be, which was obviously the last one there. And every single Beatles single is in here as a cassette. Something different, and it's quite a nice piece to have on the shelf, especially if you've got the flap up. Now obviously there were other Beatles cassette singles issued throughout the years following that. So first of all, we had the All You Need Is Love, which came out in a standard cassette box, plastic box like that. I'm just thinking about the environmental damage all this plastic has, where you think about these cardboard sleeves, far more environmentally friendly. So yeah, All You Need Is Love came out. Then we had Baby It's You. All You Need Is Love came out for an anniversary, 30th anniversary, something like that maybe. Then we had Baby It's You, which was obviously the single from the Beatles at the BBC, issued on Apple, as you can see. There's an Apple on the cassette and an Apple on the cover. And then that was followed by Free as a Bird, which had the normal imagery there. No apple on here. Oh, yes, there is. There's a very, very small, tiny little apple there. And then that followed by Real Love. Personally, without doing a review, I prefer Real Love as a song to Free as a Bird, but maybe I'll cover that in another video. My little discussion with myself about it, or with someone else. Maybe someone would like to join me on a video chat about Real Love and Free as a Bird. So anyway, that covers all of the Beatles cassette singles. I didn't really want to go on too much about each one. Then we have the only cassette single apart from the original two that I could find from John, and that's an Imagine anniversary release. And here we are. I'm trying to see a release date. I don't know, 2001 maybe. It might have been for an anniversary. So that's the John one. Ringo, as far as I can tell, has only done one cassette single, and that's Weight of the World, and after all these years. And interestingly, with this one, it's got both tracks on one side, and then it plays both tracks on one side again on the other when it reverses. Slightly different cassette single sleeve. As you can see, it's sort of like a U. I think they call them a U card. So got that one there. Next up, we've got George. Now, we obviously already saw the original George cassette single. I'm not showing these in any particular order. I was going to sort through them. I thought, oh, life's too short. So I'll just show you the ones that I've got. I've got My Mind Set on You, which is Still Sealed, followed by This Is Love, which is quite nice, When We Was Fab, and then the Wilburys issued Handle With Care, obviously with George in it, and all the other Wilburys. End of the Line. And then we've got Nobody's Child, which is a charity release. And that's the Wilburys there for the Romanian Angel Appeal. Not to be outdone by any stretch of the imagination was Paul. Now, Paul didn't put any out at the same time as John and George initially. But he's certainly made up for it since, as you can tell here. So we've got things like Pretty Little Head on cassette single. We've got Put It There. Figure of Eight. I was surprised when I took this one out of its box. I've got all the singles, cassettes in a box upstairs, rather than having them on a shelf. Maybe I should get a shelf made, put them on. But when I've got this one out, it's got figure of Eight, Still Sealed, and how much did I pay for it? 99p. I've got no idea how much these go for these days. I'm guessing probably more than 99p, but that's quite nice. Then we come up with this one, which again has got the cardboard sleeve, but they're not the flip top, they're just a wraparound sleeve. Then we go into Figure of Eight, one of the many, many different variations of Figure of Eight with Où Le Soleil. As I say, there's the other one, going with Où Le Soleil. But even as a single, it had many different release formats and variations. Then we've got My Brave Face, as you can see there. Coming into the latter time of the cassette singles now, Beautiful Night, Flaming Pie, Birthday, Good Day Sunshine. So they're literally just a cardboard case to wrap around the cassette, so they do fall out. says. There you go. They do fall out quite easily. Où Le Soleil with 3 different mixes of it. How cool is that? Sam Wiles, I know you love Où Le Soleil, so that's one for you there. We've got Hope of Deliverance. There we are. Come On People, again in a cardboard sleeve. Then we've got this one, which is quite unusual, really rare. To my knowledge, it was only ever issued as a cassette single in New Zealand. And that's a New Zealand copy. No More Lonely Nights, Silly Love Songs, and No More Lonely Nights Ballad. Yeah, to my knowledge, it's only ever been issued in actually Australia. I correct myself. Maybe it's both Australia and New Zealand. Reading the copyright details. So yeah, certainly down in Australia and New Zealand, they got No More Lonely Nights. One of my favourite Paul McCartney songs of all time, as a cassette single. And then for Record Store Day, Paul put out a demo cassette single. It's got 3 tracks on it: I Don't Want to Confess, Shallow Grave, Mistress and Maid, demos. And as you can see, this has got the Hog Hill Mill logo at the top, all recorded at Hog Hill Mill, his home studio. On the spine, it's got Paul McCartney, Elvis Costello, and then there's a doodle on the back. And I believe this is an exact replica of a cassette that he himself had when he recorded with Elvis Costello. So he issued it as a Record Store Day special release. Not sure how much they go for these days, probably about 30 quid, I should think. So that's that. So that's the Paul ones, as I said. He's wasn't to be outdone by the others. And then we comes on to the odds and ends. I did have a few, I've still got them, Julian Lennon, but they're not, as this is a Beatles channel. I know it's John's son, but I didn't bring those ones down. So we've got some Linda, because Paul is on these as well, from her Wild Prairie album. So you've got Wild Prairie and The Light That Comes From Within. And then last but not least, another Apple cassette single of the Apple EP with tracks from Mary Hopkin, Billy Preston, Jackie Lomax and Badfinger, which also issued on CD in the sort of the case that opens up in the shape of an apple. So anyway, I've rattled through those. Just really wanted to show you the cassette singles. Hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, down here somewhere there should be a subscribe button, and then as this video finishes, there's some links over here to some more of my videos. Please subscribe. Ask me any questions, or if you've got comments, feel free to leave them. Always happy to answer questions and receive and reply to comments. I've been Andrew Brooks. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.